live now too. So
I'm
what?
going live, and I'm live,
What?
and I'm trying to check something while we're doing
Can
this.
I get a what? What?
Are you coming to sit down? What's
Move
happening?
this way. There's a dog in my way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Please be sure to check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Thank you for watching us on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on the Instagram and the Twitter.
Fancy. I think I'm wearing the same shirt from last week. But it's because I came from class, and this is what I normally wear. This is what I wear to class every week, so then I just didn't change clothes.
What are you going to do?
This is, do you know this? This is my Master Toddy Muay Thai shirt. So
nice.
This is the fight shirt from where I train in Thailand. So this is what I wore to teach Muay Thai. Would you stop looking? Is that what you ordered?
This is what I ordered.
She's showing her fancy table she ordered.
And I think the leaves come out or whatever.
All right, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. This is not Furniture's by Blakey's.
Well, he tells me afterwards, did you measure? No.
No, I told her what we discussed. We're buying a new dining table, and I asked her ahead. We talked about this. She kept showing me all the nonsense she picked, some ugly ones, by the way. And then I was like, we got to make sure it fits in the room, so we need to see what the length and stuff is. And she goes, oh, okay. So then she just placed an order, and I'm talking, this isn't like $300 or $400. And then she's like, I said, is it going to fit? She goes, I hope so. Did you measure it? No, I didn't think of that. Anyway, moving on. We'll talk about movies, and we'll fight about that.
It's not going to fit.
That'll be a fight on another show once it gets here. If I like it or if I don't or whatever. Anyway, this thing's we're going to have to store the other one. It's going to take up some of the Blakey dojo.
It is.
We're going to be very upset. I may have to take the legs off, and I can lean it up out of the way.
Oh, that's true.
Anyway, sorry, that has nothing to do with this show. So why are you drinking out of a bottle that's like 5 times bigger than your head?
I'm going to try to finish this bottle.
During the show?
No. Oh, I can.
Chug it. What is it? Chug. Come on. Get a little bit more. Anyway. All right. So we got a lot of movies to talk about today, so we should probably get to it.
6 boxes are coming.
Jesus Christ. Anyway. That's because all the chairs are probably not together.
I got the 8 chair set because we need 8 chairs.
Yeah, because we have so many people that come over
here. But we sometimes do. Anyways. What movie do you want to start with? We have so many to talk about.
I've got some Blu-rays that come out this week. We had a Netflix one we were going to talk about. We can talk about it. We did not finish it because Netflix, we're going to finish it tonight.
We got the general vibe.
Netflix went kaput last night for some weird reason. I don't know if it was our internet situation or a Netflix situation, but
what happened was I had to go use the bathroom.
We paused it.
So I was taking a pee break.
And that was the end of it.
And then it wouldn't come back.
Never would come back.
It was my fault. So, I apologize.
So we'll talk about that a little bit, at least let people know about it. And then we got a couple of theatricals, things like this. Some movies like normal, some stuff I've seen, some stuff we both saw. So do you want to talk about a separate stuff? Do you want to talk about together things? What you like? I got two animated features.
Let's go in the order in which they were received.
Well, some of them are not out of order. They're in order of anything. It doesn't matter.
Well, just tell me about the one you saw first. A long time ago. Long time ago.
What did I see a long time ago?
An animated feature film.
Well, that's like the biggest film of the weekend.
Oh, well, then don't tell me about that. What did you see today?
But I did, hold on. Since we're talking about animation, I've got 2 other animated films
to
talk about.
Tell me about one.
And I'll do quick briefs on them. One of them is this Nezha.
Yes, you finally watched it?
I did, and it's one of the ones we're giving away. We still have a few copies left.
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
And I knew I'd seen the trailer for this, so I was moderately excited. It looked like it could be fun, but at the same time, it looked like it might be kind of stupid and silly. And you also know when you get some of these animated films that come out kind of seemingly out of nowhere, they end up being kind of cheesy, and the animation's choppy sometimes, and whatever. Let me tell you, this movie is awesome.
Is it?
It is. It's funny, but it's serious. It's kind of like one of those martial arts wushu epics, but with the fantasy stuff like the Monkey King. The whole premise is this lady's pregnant and fixing to give birth, and the gods come down, and they have these 2 things that open up, and one's good and one's evil. And so the dad is supposed to take the proper one, which would be the good one, and make this person like the chosen whatever. And somebody tried to steal whatever, and it made the evil one go into the little kid. So when the boy's born, he's destined to be evil. But the mother's love is trying to make him good.
Yes.
And so while they're raising him,
this is cool.
He's kind of a menace, like not in a horrible bad way, but he's either dealing with the kids that are afraid of him and think he's different, so they bully him kind of thing. But then he gets mad because like he can shoot fire and stuff, and so
wow,
he gets mad, and they're always trying to. But his mom's trying to play with him and do stuff with him, and they're playing like a hacky sack thing, we're like kicking the little sack back and forth.
Yeah.
But every time he kicks at her, it hits her. She like throws her into the wall, and she keeps trying to play with him. And anyway, so then it escalates, and you're dealing with the gods and dragons, and it was actually a very, very good movie. I really, really dug it, and it's visually, it's amazing. It's like a lot of bright, vibrant colors. It's one of those, if you can see it in 4K, I would recommend. I never got the 4K copy I was supposed to get, but the Blu-ray looks amazing.
And like we're dealing with a couple of different things, like bullying and being different and love.
Yeah, but you're also getting the fantasy epics of dragons and martial arts and all kinds of stuff. And there's a little bit of an anime vibe. And there's a really funny part, which isn't a spoiler, but it's a scene where the little boy, because this is a little boy. I know it looks kind of like a girl, but it's a little boy. He's like a little demon kid thing. But he does this move, and it's one of the times he's like powering up, or the first time it's not. It's the first time he appears. Because at first it's like this flaming head that's flying around, freaking everybody out. And then when it morphs into the actual boy at the beginning, he hits the ground, right? And he's got like the little crater that he's in with fire around him, and he's starting to rise up. The music is different, but it starts going that dun 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 dun, like the Terminator. Oh, it's like this sort of homage to the Terminator, but it's kind of an Asian version of that same song. Cool. But anyway, it's a really great movie. It's from Wogo USA. They have another one coming out called Jin Zia, I think, coming out, which is from the same animated studio that now I'm super excited for. But we're giving away this thing, so if you go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
you can check it out. And I have my review up to it. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. The other one I want to throw at you is a little bit older one from last month. I just got it.
Okay.
And I checked it out. I have not posted the review yet. I'll probably post it tonight. It was for Playmobil, the movie.
Oh, how fun does that sound?
So if you don't know what Playmobil is, it's basically, it's another set of building blocks and Lego type people. It's said, I guess it's for younger kids than Legos, right?
Yeah, they were the bigger blocks normally.
And they still make them, but they don't have
Duplo or whatever.
Yeah, and they don't typically have, I think, a lot of branding. It's usually
just generic
knights and ninjas and dragons,
and
and that kind of stuff. And this movie has every single one of them.
That's so cool.
So
it looks cute,
and it's got a great voice cast. I mean, it's Jim Gaffigan and Daniel Radcliffe and Anya Taylor-Joy, and I mean, it's got a great cast in it. So here's the thing. It's not actually. It was a stinker of a release. It barely came out and went away. Nobody hardly saw it.
That's too bad. I hate when that happens.
It's actually not bad. It's a fun little movie. It's really, really wants to be Lego movie, and it's so not. It tries really hard. Sometimes a little too hard. It's a little unbalanced because they were trying. Because the brand isn't like Lego, where they can rely on having a Lego Batman or a Lego Star Wars. Because if you watch like the other Lego movie, you have a couple of generic characters, and the rest of them are branded characters. This movie has to solely rely on all their generic characters and create something. So they had to create a universe that made sense to show pirates and knights and super spies and robots and guys in a Hawaiian shirt on a food truck, all in the same universe. That would make sense.
Right.
And it doesn't really make sense, but it's kind of the point.
Yeah.
And it's also just like the Lego movie, infused with a beginning and end that are live action. And it deals with people in loss and their journeys, bringing them together, kind of thing. It's very generic. It's probably one of those that's going to be more for the younger audience, where the Lego movie can kind of capture everybody. It has a lot of more of adult jokes in it too, even though it's a kids movie. This one seems more like lower age kids. Like, I can see them having a blast. Okay. I think you would have a blast.
I probably would, because I just like fun
But things. You like bubble guppies and crap like that. And they sing, and it was one of those movies that it just didn't work for the box office. I think it would have been. It did feel more like something probably that came straight to video in the first place. It's only getting a DVD release, which tells you how well it did automatically. If they only don't bother releasing it on Blu-ray or anything else.
It's too bad, though.
If you have kids or you played with the toys, check it out. It's funny. It's fun. It's just a very general movie that it's kind of like the Lego movie light. Just like the toys are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Playmobil's not quite Legos, and this movie's not quite the Lego movie, but it tries really hard.
Too bad.
And it does some fun stuff. And the animation's not
But
bad.
there's an audience for it, so it's
There
okay.
is, yeah. And I didn't think the animation was all that bad. I expected it to be, yeah. And I didn't think the animation was all that bad. I expected it to be a lot worse.
Did you have a review for it?
I have not done it yet.
Okay.
I just finished it the other day, so I'll be posting that Friday
I'll
night.
talk about
So anyway,
it.
Playmobil the movie is already out, so you can rent it anytime you want. So tell us about what you saw. Did you say you saw something?
I did. So I watched another Netflix movie, surprisingly. I did. Yes, I did. And it is called, I have to find the name of it because
We just went through this before the show started, and you were like, I know what it is.
I know what it is. It's called
You
The
don't know what
Last
anything
Thing
is.
He Wanted, and it has Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway. It's a Netflix film, and it's basically about Anne Hathaway's character as a reporter during the Sandinista thing that was happening in El Salvador, Nicaragua, and how they were getting the arms. So it's like very 80s.
Nicaragua.
Oh,
Anyway, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Anyway, so that's kind of the time period we are. So she's a reporter investigating and finding out, obviously, which I think we all know, that the U.S. was discarding weapons, and that's how they get into the hands of people. Which, by the way, P.S. That's how a lot of weapons get into the Middle East. It's from us. I mean, it's all about money and
90%
business.
of it was done by the U.S. giving it to somebody else.
Yeah. So, anyways, then Ben Affleck's character is very much on the political side of things, trying to make sure that these things don't come up, because that's what they do. They're like, oh, we have no knowledge of this. So he's that guy. But they actually know each other, and they had some sort of a little relationship. And so, because previously he was a source for something else. So that's what we're getting into. And the sub story of this is she has a sick father, messed up relationship with her husband. She sent her kid away to boarding school. I mean, there's like so much drama of this while she's trying to uncover the story. That's what it's about. Anywho.
That was a long buildup. Is it any good?
You know what? It's not as great as I was hoping it would be. And
I like that you thought it was going to be great.
Yeah, well, I did, because, I mean, you see Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway, and you expect magic.
Do I?
I did. I mean, maybe I'm done.
I love Ben Affleck, but I'm not a big Anne Hathaway fan, depending on the project. So.
I was expecting something, and I just did not get it. There? I was trying to put the mute on. I was expecting something, and I did not get it, and I'm kind of disappointed.
What did you think you were going to get? Did you think it was going to be more of a...
I was thinking it was going to be more dramatic and thriller, because it starts off with her and Rosie Perez in a jungle,
I like that Rosie Perez is kind of having a resurgence.
I do too, because she's in what the thing
Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was expecting something a little more gut wrenching or hard hitting or edge of your seat, like she's gonna get caught. And I mean, there's a little bit of it, but just not as much as I wanted. And I don't know. It was all right. I mean, I guess that's why it's on Netflix. I don't know. It's a new film. It just came out, but
no.
I mean, if you like either one of them, check it out. That's what drew me to it. Because I'm like, oh, there's a new Ben Affleck. I love Ben Affleck. I like Anne Hathaway. They're both good people.
Are they good people?
They are good people.
You don't
and they are good. I know Ben Affleck is a good person.
Do you?
Yes.
I heard he's kind of a douche.
Is he?
I've always heard that.
No, I'm feeling like with about 90% certainty he's a good person.
I've always heard he's kind of a douche.
No,
I'm a fan, and I'm fine with him being a douche, but
I don't think so. I think his love with
his love of Ben Affleck.
What's his name?
Matt
Damon. And I think
they've known each other since elementary school.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Jennifer tries to step up and take care of him, I think there is a good person that creates a lot of love around him. So I think he's a good person.
He just has a lot of demons.
He does have a lot of issues.
Which we'll talk about in a minute.
We're going to talk about it. This dude's in it. The Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, he's in it.
That guy has got enough credibility to not be that guy.
That's what I've got. So it's an amazing cast. The movie's okay. There you go.
All right.
I'm going to give it, should I give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
What else would you like to talk about? So we have the animated one I saw the other one today, and then we have the Netflix one that we didn't get to finish, and then we have the other one we saw together.
Let's talk about the other Netflix one.
All right. So the other Netflix one, which I was really excited to see it, and so far I kind of enjoyed the movie. I've
enjoyed it.
Is Spencer Confidential.
Love it.
Which is Mark Wahlberg, Winston Duke, Post Malone, Alan Arkin, and it's directed by Peter Berg, who is the same guy that I believe did Lone Survivor and Deepwater Horizon, and he's done like 3 or 4 movies with Mark Wahlberg. That's kind of their go-to thing now. And it's basically, if you know the show Spencer for Hire, I think it was Robert Urich, and Avery Brooks back in the day of like the 80s, I believe it was. It's based on a series of books, the Spencer Chronicles or something like that, of novels. And that's what this movie is. It's based on the novel Wonderland, which is one of those novels. And Mark Wahlberg plays Spencer, who's a cop who had gone to jail for something he did. And he gets out and he's trying to kind of move on with his life, clean it up. And he gets embroiled in a murder scandal. And then there's his sidekick Hawk, and they meet for the first time, which Avery Brooks from Star Trek Deep Space Nine played Hawk in the original, which you might not remember or know this. Hawk even had a spinoff series that lasted like maybe 1 season.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Which I was excited. I just loved Hawk, but I only loved Hawk.
I mean, I kind of vaguely remember the show, I think, from my dad. My dad liked all these
I think my dad watched it, but I was never a fan of Spencer for Hire.
I don't remember.
I was just a fan of Hawk, but I think I was only a fan because it was a man named Hawk. And I was like, that is badass. And he used to crack people's skulls and stuff. He was kind of the tough guy. And so I remember trying to watch the show Hawk, but then I don't think it took off.
I have to go look that one up.
But anyway, so Spencer Confidential is a new Netflix movie that's there. So we started watching it, and it kept freezing. Are you trying to watch it now to see if it play?
Not on purpose.
And we got about halfway through it, so we're going to have to finish it tonight. We may go in depth into it next week if there's any more to talk about. So anyway, so what we saw so far...
Really liked.
Yeah, it's kind of an action thriller.
Yeah.
A little bit of comedy to it. It's kind of your generic action type thing, right?
So I liked it. It was like a cop drama, you know. And the one thing that I have to note at the beginning is Mark Wahlberg is starting to look a little older. And when I told my friends what of that, she's like, just his face, the rest of him still looks good. And that's true.
Who said this?
My friend Amy. I was talking to her, and she's like, just the face, which is true. So that's one thing. And I'm liking Post Malone. I mean, I think I think he's a nice person.
I do too. And my connection to Post Malone has been because my son looks like Post Malone.
Totally.
Without the face tattoos or any other tattoos.
I would not let him get a tattoo on his face.
But he's an adult now, so he can do whatever he wants.
No, I will not let him get a tattoo.
I don't think he has any interest
face.
in getting tattoos in general.
He's a good boy.
He's like me.
Not like his dad.
Yeah, he's like me, very against tattoos.
No.
I
just don't think he ever really cared about it.
Well, he's talked about it recently.
Yeah, but he's been talking about it for years.
But now he's fixing to be a father, so.
Oh, Lord. He's going to be one of those.
I don't believe in tattoos either, so.
What, really? Really?
I was tackled, and that was put. You don't even know what.
Let me see that. I'm sorry. Oh, you're backwards on the camera.
What are you talking about?
This arm? Let me see this.
What's wrong with this arm?
This one? Oh, wait. Look at that.
There's nothing there. Look, there's nothing there. Look at that fancy plain arm. Look, I only have 8.
That's fine.
So
whatever.
Calm down. Anyway,
I just don't like his face tattoos.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his music, but the more
I'm a fan of that one song.
Well, the one he did with Ozzy I like, but the more interviews I've watched with him, and just seeing him do things, and you know, I know you were cemented as a fan of him as a person after the Jimmy Fallon and him went to Olive Garden. His Bud Light commercials I loved. And this is his first. I think this is his first kind of acting role, in theory.
Let's see.
And he's actually pretty good in it.
Yeah.
It's a small part. It's not massive. I know he comes back later in the movie, but we haven't seen that part yet.
Don't tell me about it.
Because that's where it ended, and it wouldn't let us pass that.
It's the most frustrating thing.
It was.
When it doesn't work. Anyway. Oh, no, look, he's been in some stuff.
Well, I think most of that's his music.
Soundtrack. Yeah. He was a bystander in Spider-Man.
Well, that means he's just an animated. Yeah, see, everything else
TV series as himself.
Yeah, so I think this is his first acting role. Everything else has been his own stuff.
Videos. Good for you, dude.
And there was a thing on Jimmy. I don't remember if it was James Corden. That's when he had asked Mark Wahlberg when he worked with Post Malone about his tattoos, because Mark Wahlberg's for the last 5 to 6 years has been having all of his tattoos removed.
Which is strange.
And well, he decided he didn't want to. I don't even know if he knew the tattoos he had, but he used to have.
I know he had the necklace. Sorry, we're not Catholic.
The
We're gonna
Catholic
say it wrong.
rosary.
A rosary.
Yeah, the rosary tattooed.
Which I thought was nice.
I think his whole back was tattooed. I think he had them on his legs. But he said it's been like 5 days. He's been trying to get them off since he did The Fighter, which he had said he was trying to have them removed before that movie. And they're like, oh, no, this is going to take 5 or 6 years. Wow. And he says it's extruded. He says it feels like they're pouring hot bacon grease on you when you do it. He says extruding pain. So anyway, they asked him if he gave any advice to Post Malone about not getting tattoos or getting removed or whatever. He said, yeah, he talked about it to him. Just his, as you get mature, things change in the way your mentality. And he goes, and then right after that, Post Malone got more on his face.
No.
Anyway, so what did you think of the movie so far?
So far, I've really enjoyed it. I like seeing, I like kind of crop drama, whatever, anyway. And I like it's like a whodunit kind of murder mystery, which is always intriguing. And you got Mark Wahlberg, so you can't really go wrong in the action area.
I think I like too here. He seems to play Mark Wahlberg in this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like and what I mean by that is like that Boston Mark Wahlberg that's kind of the tough guy. Like he plays that kind of role a lot of times, but he's always have like a different backstory.
And I like this dude.
This time he feels very Bostonian.
Yeah, very much.
In this one, and with the fighting and the boxing, and it seems like there's a lot of elements here that are very much his life.
Just him.
That he fits in. And I love Winston Duke. Do you even know who that guy is?
Yes, he's
Hawk.
He's Hawk, but he's the guy from.
Yes. Do you know what else he was in? Another movie you love.
He was in. Come on, you want to go? Let's go.
You're correct.
But it's called Us.
Us.
Thank you.
And he was Man-Ape in Black Panther.
Yes. What was his name? I'm gonna find out now.
Well, the character's Man-Ape, but I forgot the
M'Baku.
Yeah. Something like that. Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm really digging the movie, so maybe even more.
Yeah, and I like him. I like his character because this time he's not overly aggressive.
Who? Mark Wahlberg or Winston Duke?
Winston Duke. He's kind of the more laid back one, which is interesting. And then Mark Wahlberg is kind of the crazy one.
But it's funny is I also like that. Well, I like that exact same thing. Mark Wahlberg is the character. Spencer is the aggressive one, but he gets his butt kicked a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's not the unbeatable. Which I always love that when they have a character that you get an actor like these action stars who you typically in a movie they're going to win. Yeah. Right. They're going to fight. They're going to beat everybody's ass. But I like in these the fights feel more real. Like there's even a fight at the very beginning of the movie. When Mark Wahlberg fighting some other prisoners, and the guy he's just fighting, and then the guy kicks him. He goes, "Bro, you're kicking me!" And the guy kicks him again. He goes, "Bro, why are you kicking me?" Because he's a boxer.
Yeah.
And so he's like, it's almost like you're cheating by kicking.
Kick, you guys. If you get in a fight, don't forget to kick.
But then I like that later.
There's
a whole thing in the gym when they're fighting, and Hawk's training to fight, and he's wanting to kick because they're kind of having an MMA gym thing. But the guy's like, you can't punch, so you can't kick until you learn how to punch.
Oh, well, that's probably true, isn't it?
So anyway, hopefully once we get to finish it tonight, hopefully if we'll come back.
People are liking it, so.
I think it was like the top movie.
On Netflix?
I think so. I think it was one of the tops for the weekend because it just hit.
Huh.
Anyway, we'll talk once we finish it. If we get more, we'll talk about it next week in more depth of how it ends or whatever.
Anyways, it's good so far.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So moving on. So we either have the one we saw together or the other two that I've seen.
Tell me about one of the ones you saw.
How about I tell you about the one I saw today?
Okay.
So today, a little bit behind. It's been out for a couple of weeks, but I finally got to see The Call of the Wild.
Oh, good.
Which is based on the iconic Jack London novel of the same name. They've made numerous movies about this. I think going all the way back to like 1932. Yeah. This time around, it stars Harrison Ford and Dan Stevens, and Buck. Buck is the dog.
Buck is a dog.
And
Sweet.
Buck is a CGI dog.
That's weird. Okay.
And from the trailers, I've always loved this story, but from the trailers, I was a little concerned because the dog seemed very animated. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about the CGI because of the facial expressions, more so like our dog makes faces and stuff, but not to the extent is what we were seeing in the trailer, almost cartoonish, right?
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people making comments about why didn't they do this same thing? If you can, this just show you can make an animal believable and do this, but why didn't they do this in The Lion King to make it more animated feeling? Which I like that they didn't, but other people didn't. So anyway, so going into this movie, I was intrigued because we had Harrison Ford. We don't get a lot of Harrison Ford anymore. And we had this adventure. It was going to be this sweeping adventure, you know, with a dog and whatnot. And I think most of the time, a lot of these Call of the Wild movies, correct me if I'm wrong, but that I remember, because I think Ethan Hawke did one.
Yeah, I feel like.
I believe. It could have been a different movie and just similar. But most of the time, I feel like they've been done from the perspective of the guy with the dog.
Yeah.
And then it just led to the dog's journey, you know, but alongside this guy. But going into the movie, I was excited. But again, I was a little worried how it was going to work.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, this entire movie is Buck's story.
Good.
This is the story. This is like watching Benji. You're following Buck 99% of the time of this movie. Harrison Ford is in the movie heavily the last half, randomly for the rest of the thing. But the rest of it's Buck going through different people in different situations and whatnot. As an animal lover, I always would rather see a real life animal doing their thing on screen. But at the same time, the stuff they were doing and putting them through and everything else, I can see why they didn't do this, because now this is now taking animals out of the work equation and creating something and no longer putting that whole thing of no animals were harmed in this movie has gone away completely.
Yeah,
because all the animals were CGI'd.
That's crazy
and
to me.
They all look real. And it took me about 5, maybe 10 minutes to get over the Buck thing, because it's so in your face, and he's in your face all the time. You can't help but see it at first. And there's still a few elements that it kind of goes up and down, but you fall in love with him so fast that you don't care anymore and you buy into it. I was concerned how it was going to work when he interacted with other animals, because he doesn't talk or anything like that, so it doesn't turn into that crap. But the other animals have similar personalities, but not as big. But it still seemed, because he has issues where he's with wolves and bears and sled dogs and different things, and it comes across with there's an entire hierarchy of him dealing with all these different animals, and it's through their facial expressions and their body languages, and it works. And his craziness, which will probably stress you out at times, because of him knocking things over and running through things and eating tables of food, and
don't do that.
But it's also a very sad movie, because but not sad in a way of we're just watching his journey, right? Yeah. But then makes you almost like it has that happy cry element to the I want to see you see this movie.
Oh,
because
Lord.
It's showing him, and it's narrated by Harrison Ford, who it's almost like he's writing the story of this dog, right? You know, that's not really what happens, but he's telling the story of Buck's journey, as well as being part of Buck's journey. But they spend enough time with each element that it never feels rushed, because it starts off with him living the lap of luxury in this big mansion house of where he lives.
That's nice.
But most of the town people don't like him because he's crazy, but he's the judge's dog, so everybody's afraid of him. They're like, oh no, don't do anything. That's the judge's dog. Give him what he wants. But then he sees things, he starts chasing and knocking things over, you know, so it gets to the point where they finally have to, they find getting money for him to make him sleep outside, so he gets kidnapped, and then he sends him on a journey, you know, then he gets picked up as a male dog in the Ozarks or whatever, and he's not really a good sled dog, and he's had to learn that journey and then find his way in a pack, and he's bullied by the other dogs, and he's beaten by people, and you know, and
well, this is just a horrible, sad movie. Why do I want to watch this?
But each time somebody will stick it from, so it's kind of one of these journeys of not only him, and it's stupid, but I've never paid, because I haven't seen any of the other Call of the Wild. I've never read the book, but I've never seen the other Call of the Wild movies in years, and I don't think I ever paid that close attention. But the entire whole Call of the Wild is him finding his place as an animal with his own people, his own kind.
Yeah.
But he's taken that journey through the horrificness of man until he finds, but then he finds the happiness of man, leading himself into the wild. You know what I mean? And so it's very. I really liked the movie. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was it's adventure.
You were not sure at all about this dog.
No, and he sucked me right in. And again, you every so often something will pop up, and you'll be like, okay, that's a fake dog, but it's not enough that it messes up the movie. Okay. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
You know, it's like you buy into it, and you're so entertained by this dog, and then like when somebody hits him with a club, you're upset about it, and then when somebody with a club later comes back, you're like, oh no, you ain't gonna hit him this time. And the way he cowers and his ears drop, he looks just like our dog with his facial expressions and
when he's in trouble.
Yeah, when he gets in trouble, he does that in the movie too. The other day, this dog of ours, I come home and he'd gotten into her trash can.
I don't know what he finds interesting in the trash.
So it's all tissues and paper. And I used to think it was just boogers and stuff that he just liked eating snot, but he'll just find random like bubble wrap papers and stuff. He's looking for something that's not there. Anyway, so when I see it and I'm like, Vader, and I look at him and he sits and he looks away like this. And I was like, did you do this? He's like, in the movie, there's a thing that's like, Buck's like,
that's so funny.
And I'm like, I hate everything I can do to be quiet because I'm also like, my dog does that shit. Don't buy into him. Anyway, the movie did bombed at the box office essentially, which makes me sad because it's actually a great movie for everybody. It can be a little scary for smaller kids because there are parts where the animals fight, you know, like the dogs fighting each other and biting each other, and there's a bear and all that kind of stuff. But there's also, you know, like I said, there is moments where there's somebody hitting the dog or whatever, and there's guns, that kind of thing. So, but it's still a family adventure movie that it reminded me very much of the old Disney movies from the 70s and 80s.
That'd be fun.
You know, those sweeping.
Well, that's what the original were like in the 70s.
Yeah, that's very much what it reminded me of, that kind of thing. And Harrison Ford's great in it. He seemed like he was having fun. Like he smiles in the movie, is jolly, like not grumpy Harrison Ford that we're normally used to.
That's so funny.
So anyway, The Call of the Wild is in theaters now. It didn't do that well. It's being looked at as one of the first or one of the big flops for. It was. Oh, here's the other thing. It was very odd.
What's that?
I forgot going into this movie because it's been a while since it came out, a few weeks now. It is the very first theatrical movie being released with the new 20th Century logo. So it doesn't say 20th Century Fox
it just says
anymore. It says 20th Century Studios or Entertainment or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact thing with the spotlights and the gold here, but just 20th is huge on the top and no Fox. And when it came on, I was like,
like, what is that about?
So it's a little weird to see that. But anyway, why are you looking at Penny Dreadful?
I like this lady.
Well, that's the new spinoff series.
Well, I'm going to watch that.
Okay, did you ever watch the other one?
No.
Then you can't watch that.
Why not?
Because it's a spinoff.
Who cares?
Your stupid face. All right.
Next.
Talk about our last movie. No,
you had one more. Did
we talk about the other one too before we talk about the last one?
Yeah.
The other one she was supposed to go see with me again this weekend, but she decided to work.
Did we talk about that?
No, not yet. That's why I was asking. We got two of them.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. Do it.
Make up your damn mind.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, I said we had two left. Which one do you want to talk about? You said talk about yours.
Oh, no. I apologize. We're going to talk about this movie we watched together.
Well, you tell them about it then. You're on my nerves now. You're about to get cut in front of everybody.
Please don't cut me.
Go ahead.
So the next movie we're going to talk about is another movie with Ben Affleck.
Come on.
I like Ben Affleck, you guys.
I've liked Ben Affleck before everybody else liked Ben Affleck.
I know some of y'all hated him during the Geely days.
Ben Affleck was the bomb at fans,
it's okay. This movie is called The Way Back. It's currently in theaters now. Go check it out.
Not to be confused with the summer movie starring Steve Carell that came out a few years ago.
Okay. This movie is about a man who's kind of messed up. He's got a little bit of a drinking problem. And they call him to come be a basketball coach. And that's all we can tell you because there's lots of other reasons.
But you can tell him he was like the high school. It was high school, right?
Yeah, he was
the high school star.
Basketball
player.
Star.
It was like the last real star they had there. And their other coach got a heart attack or something. So they asked him to come back.
So there you go. We can't tell you all the story.
He's dealing with some family drama.
He's dealing with some issues, and that has led to the drinking. And this, to me, was so sad. Just the beginning of the movie, we see like his daily routine. It is so sad. He wakes up, and he's taking a shower and drinking a beer.
I knew that was going to bother you. Him drinking the beer while he's in the shower.
Like, how bad is the problem
I knew that's what you were going to be thinking. Like, how bad is it if you have to have a beer while you're in the shower
and take a shower and drink your beer? And you can tell that because of this, that's where all his money goes. His house is crap. It's not
clean.
It's
dilapidated.
He doesn't even have shampoo. He uses a bar of soap to wash his hair.
I didn't know if you noticed that.
And it's like a sad, like the bar's almost gone, but he's still trying to rub it. I'm like, that is the condition of his life. It is a mess. And the only thing that's keeping him going is drinking. He shows up to work with what is it that you supposedly can't smell vodka?
Yeah.
In his water bottle. I mean.
Or his coffee cup so he can drive home and drink where he puts a beer in
and
it.
He's drinking on the way home. He's drinking, and he drives from work to the bar. And what makes me sad here is the bartender knows he's got a problem, but he's like, let me set you up. And he stacks up his beers and his shots. And I'm like.
That's that torn thing of.
You gotta make money.
The bartender's running a business. It's like a restaurant not throwing out a buffet, not throwing out fat people.
I guess so. And it's like the people
make money.
I'm coming from
the restaurant's full now because they ate too much. But at the same time, you have to understand the bartender doesn't know what he does with the rest of his time. So as far as the bartender sees, he was there for 2 hours drinking.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't know he's been drinking for 28.
He might get drunk every night, but then he doesn't realize this man's doing it all day long.
And even if he does, he's still running the business.
And I found out there's one.
If he doesn't do it there, he's going to go somewhere else.
And there's one scene where he is trying to make a decision, and you can tell he's stress drinking. So you can tell that's what started this whole thing, is whatever his family issues are and dealing with stress. He doesn't know how to cope, and he doesn't know how to talk about it. So he starts drinking.
Yeah.
And there's one scene he goes through like probably a whole case or two, like boom.
This is a spoiler, but it's trying to decide
make a decision
on this coaching job.
Yeah.
And it was a great montage sequence, I thought, to really cement home how bad his drinking problem was, because it starts off with him opening the refrigerator and it's a full shelf of beers.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And as he's going through that, he's taking a beer, and it's kind of a montage of him saying different things and grabbing the beer, and then by the time it's finished, there's no beer left in that. So he went through an entire more than a 12-pack in that one time period trying to make a decision.
It was horrible. But yeah, and it obviously creates problems in his ongoing life and dealing with the problems of the past, the problems of right now. I mean, it's a mess. And then realizing that this is probably how he was in real life with his
because it was. I've been trying to watch some of the interviews with him, and I haven't got to get any of them that talked about his connection. He may not be talking about it, but if you don't know, Ben Affleck's had an ongoing alcohol problem in real life, and he had just went to rehab again a few years back or whatever, or not even that far long ago. And I'd read an interview or an article that said that Jennifer Garner, his ex-wife, was one of the reasons he still got to do this movie, because they were gearing up to do this movie. He ended up back in rehab, and he wanted to do this movie so bad that he apparently took a basketball to rehab with him.
Yeah, so he could.
Which made Gavin O'Connor actually hold the film or whatever, and they had worked together on the account, so they already knew each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the only reason they held it, or if that was a big thing. Because studios a lot of times will can you if there's an issue and move on. That was the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing. They didn't want to cast him in Iron Man because they felt he was too much of a liability, and Favreau fought for him, and now he's one of the biggest stars and got his crap together. And
it's sad.
But yeah, so to me, it also. There's a couple of levels of this movie that really had me thinking.
Oh yeah, there's
one of them was on a personal level.
Yeah, there's some stuff happening. We can't talk about
because
right now.
Because
anything that happens in a movie, I'm like,
What about that?
Yes, whenever that topic comes up in a movie,
I've dealt with the exact same issue he deals with in the movie. The only difference is I didn't fall into a world of addictions or things like this. I had other outlets which involved fighting and things like this that helped. I think kind of kept me from doing anything else.
Yeah.
But I also grew up around addiction with uncles and things like this.
So you knew what could happen.
Yeah. That my mother tries to say everybody she was an alcoholic, but I mean, she had a mild drinking.
Your uncles.
I don't think my mother was ever alcoholic, but she did have a mild drinking problem at one point.
My pants are so big. They're falling. Excuse me.
That was years ago, but both my uncles,
real addiction.
Yeah, my one uncle was in and out of drug rehab, and he was on everything. He passed away from brain cancer that was accelerated because of his drug use. So I mean, I've been around it, from when I was in elementary school,
Sad.
being dragged back and forth. The first time I ever got high because I was hotboxed in a car with my uncle taking me to see
Lord.
Spaceballs.
That's not okay.
Let me tell you, Spaceballs is funny as hell when you high.
Lord, that's
But
not
anyway,
okay.
so that was alone. That kind of gets me. It's been long enough to dealing with that it doesn't always bother me. It depends on the context of the film.
Yeah.
Like there's times they can talk about this happening and I'm like, oh, that sucks, and then I can move on.
Yeah.
But then in this case, where that's the catalyst to everything, and had it just been a one scene and said this is what happened, it probably wouldn't have bothered me. But when it was connecting to other things,
No, man.
and then it made him feel it when he's revisit again.
And I hate seeing Ben Affleck cry because he's good at crying, man, and
Well,
it gets me.
And on the other
in
side,
the feels.
the other side of it made me wonder if this kind of became very much like Honey Boy we talked
Maybe
about
it was
before. It was very,
cathartic.
I was fixing lethargic.
You did that during Honey Boy.
I know.
Cathartic.
Cathartic about.
I bet it
I just want
was.
everybody to be lethargic. Yes, there you go. Because he's dealing with if they shot it from the timeline that we were hearing, he literally came out of rehab and then shot a movie about being an alcoholic, and that had to be hard, but also probably not hard for being able to do it, but I mean easy as an actor, but easier to dig into what he had because he's living it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this is a movie very much like Honey Boy and Peanut Butter Falcon that helps him project forward.
Yeah. Well, it says it's reconnected him with his love of acting. So I hope so. I hope it comes back.
He became a brilliant director.
Yes.
And
love it.
I'm hoping that he's found himself, like people that don't know. I read another thing. I don't remember if I talked about it last week, but they talked about finally was revealed why he left Batman. Because most people said he left Batman or they fired him because the movie sucked and they weren't doing that. Had nothing to do with it. The Batman movie that's filming now was supposed to be written and directed and starring Ben Affleck. Then he backed away from directing, was just going to star in it. The guy that was directing it now was going to do it. Then he eventually just left the project. And so it kind of left everybody up in the air because he had done, Batman v Superman, Justice League, that set this whole universe. Well, it just recently came out that he said that he was talking about doing this stuff and dealing with this other, his addictions and things like this. And they told him, this movie is going to drive you to drink. You need to get away from this.
It's too deep.
Too much. It's too heavy. It's too many things happening. Because he talked about how Justice League killed him or whatever it was at the time. So he left it for his own health.
Yeah.
But
you can't blame people for it, by the way. I think that's a legit thing. And I don't like that people always are like, he's such a weenie or whatever it is. But you don't know what people are going through. And they're people. That's the other thing that I think people forget. Actors are just people too.
Well, this goes through, I've had this argument with people numerous times is people talk about, well, actors need to not give their opinions. They need to shut up and just act. Well, their opinions don't matter any less than you that's a truck driver or you that's, us doing this bullshit. Our opinions don't matter.
Yeah, our opinions don't matter.
But I have the right to it just like anybody else does.
Exactly.
And if there are people that are voting or there are people that are living lives and paying for things or doing stuff, they have just as much say so. Just because you don't agree with them doesn't mean they should shut up and not say anything. They have a platform. That's the only difference between us and them. Is they have a platform that everybody hears it, and you don't like what they're saying, and so you get to turn on them. I don't like everything any actor or sports person, whatever, does, but they have an opinion.
Yeah, and you're allowed to your opinion, man.
Because one of the things that kind of brought that up recently with us is I was watching a Jimmy Kimmel interview. I showed you when he was talking to Ben Affleck, and he was telling this story, and he kind of cried on the air. He got teared up about his birthday with his son, and a whole situation with the presidents not getting there like they were supposed to as he's traveling back from London from where he was shooting a movie with Matt Damon and Adam Driver. And,
you're doing all of the good ones today. You're hitting all of them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
But Adam Driver, his son's a big Star Wars fan, and Adam Driver, obviously being Kylo Ren, ended up sending presents and this and that. And he said, it kind of saved his butt because he didn't have the stuff to give him like he was supposed to, and it made him like the coolest dad. It was just little details and made him remember that stuff. But it was the comments that baffled me. It's because people were like, "Oh, you're a rich star, you can't buy your own presents," or "Oh, you couldn't make sure things were there." It's like these people think. I honestly think that people think that actors just take limos to sets, they stand there, they act, and then they go back to their homes. And there's so many things and schedules and things that happen that it's like any other job. You have a 9-to-5 job. You have to go to job all that time. If you're an actor, you're on a set. There's people that are working for you, whether it's the caterers or the lighting people. They're setting that for that person. If you don't do your job, you screw up everybody.
Yep.
But nobody cares because they're famous.
Yeah. Whatever.
So anyway, that was a tangent.
They think people think that we have the right to bash these people because they're celebrities.
And sadly, we do have the right to do that.
I know, but
that's not necessary.
Not justified.
Yeah, I think if you don't like somebody, then just don't talk about them. Move on.
Yeah.
Because you're giving, if you don't like the president, you don't like this person, or you don't like this person.
Fine, go for it.
You're giving them more platform, more press, more this by saying things about them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I got an argument with a guy about Star Wars when all the Star Wars drama was happening, and I'm like, I totally respect if you hate something. But instead of telling everybody and going out of your way to talk about what you hate, why not tell somebody what you like?
Mm-hmm.
Because you might bring somebody over to that and be experiencing something you love and it's great. And, it's like, I don't necessarily like Buffy that you love, but
you like vampire stuff.
Yeah, so I might discover something else because your Buffy conversation might turn us on to some other movie.
Hey, we met the guy at the karate tournament because of me knowing Buffy. At that karate.
Well, that's not why we met him. I knew who he was.
Well, I knew he was from Buffy. I was like,
I knew him from something else.
Yeah. But see, we found common space.
Exactly. So anyway, what did you think of the movie?
Oh my gosh.
Did we even talk about the movie itself yet?
I liked the movie. I love Ben Affleck. I love the what's the Hispanic man's name? I love him, by the way.
Which Hispanic man?
The
assistant coach?
Yes. Love him. I don't see enough of him. Oh, and I saw his name in the credits, and now I don't
remember the name either.
But I love him.
He's usually funny though.
He's super good. Love it.
He's usually more comedy, isn't he?
I guess. Where is he?
He's got to be up at the top. Is that not the other?
Oh Lord!
Hold on, we're not prepared.
Not him. Da da da.
Some goes so fast.
Who are these people?
They're all the kids.
Well, he's more important than them.
Well, you probably passed him like 4 times.
No, I didn't.
I think you did.
Oh,
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
love
great. It's a great movie. You know what? The thing that I liked even more about the movie was I thought it was going to be, I knew we were going to deal with the alcoholism and all this kind of stuff from the trailer, but I thought it was going to really be about the basketball team and him.
Yeah.
And while that's a big part of the movie, it's really not. It's not about them winning games. It's not about do they win the championships and become a sport inspiration movie. That's there.
It's there.
But you never know what happens at the end of the basketball tournament for sure, because it's more about him helping this team and this team helping him and everybody helping each other to build towards something else. Because there's even the cliche story of the parent that never goes to anybody's game.
Man,
and he tries to help,
one of those.
And that's resolved, but in a very kind of throwaway way, because it only needs that little nod. And it's like, this guy's getting his thing because of what he did for him, which in turn is making him, it's like everything is coming together to try to help himself. Yeah. Even though things get worse again. And anyway.
For a little bit.
Are you trying to find a picture with him to find his name?
Yes, this guy. Al Madrigal. Love you. You're awesome.
What else was he in recently? Because I was just trying to figure out, because he didn't have glasses on though when I saw him recently. Scroll down.
He's in night school somewhere.
He's in Morbius. Cool. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. He's on I'm Dying Up Here. That's what I know him from all the time. Okay. That's that comedian stand-up show I watched.
He's awesome. Anywho, I liked the movie. You need to check it out. Go pay your dollars and go see Ben Affleck because he's really good.
It is. It was like, I think it was like number 3 this week or something.
I'm touching you. Sorry.
Yeah, is that your bare feet, nasty?
Yes.
Cochina? I'm not wearing pants.
I'm gonna rub my feet on you.
All right. The way back, it's excellent. It's a heavy movie, but it's a great movie. I think, honestly, I'm gonna say this out loud. I think this might be Ben Affleck's best performance to date.
What?
Of all the stuff he's done.
I like the.
Oh, I do too. I think he's been great in a lot of stuff, but I think this might be his best.
Okay.
Because it felt real. You know what I mean?
It was totally
And I'm
real.
thinking it felt real because it probably was.
It was.
You know,
and
on some level.
I'm just telling you, that's why I think he's probably a really nice person.
Maybe.
I'm sure he is. I feel like all he's been through has probably humbled him, if he wasn't already. So there you go.
And he's working with Matt Damon again.
Matt Damon.
I just did that on purpose for that.
Right, I didn't even do it as good as you do.
I can't do it. I'm on command now.
Sorry.
So we talk about the last movie?
Yes, we'll talk about the last film.
So the last one that I saw, which again, I was hoping she was going to see with me this weekend, but then she had to work, and then one thing after another, and it just didn't happen. So we'll still may go see it because I don't think you wanted to see it though, didn't you?
I did. It looked interesting.
It's the latest Disney Pixar movie, Onward, which trailers I was instantly intrigued because they're taking the world of the fantasy and
like
mixing
fairies,
it with modern.
Right?
Yeah, there's like fairies and goblins and ogres.
It's an adventure film, which I like immediately.
Yeah, and it is, but there's so much more.
Really?
The main voices are Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
Love him.
And it's essentially the story of these two brothers who their dad had passed away when one of them was a baby, so he's never really met his father. He knows him from pictures. And the older brother is kind of the one still in school. The older brother is kind of the misfit, and he plays Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like just kind of does whatever. But he's like crazy, always gets in trouble. The other one's kind of the nerdy, whatever.
Is Tom Holland the nerd? Huh? Is Tom Holland the nerd?
Yes. Okay. Chris Pratt is the woo guy.
That makes sense.
So, and basically what happens is he turns 16, I think it is, and given a gift from his mother. They said, "This is from your dad."
Aww.
So when he gives it, it's a staff, right? But there's jewel on it, and basically boils around. It's magic. The dad was like an accountant, so he wasn't like a wizard or something. So that's why it baffles everybody. So anyway, they use the staff when they figure out how it works, which this is all the beginning of the movie, so this isn't a spoiler. And it's just in the poster. But essentially, it's meant to bring the dad back for 24 hours.
Aww.
And so he figured out some kind of a spell, so they both brothers get to spend some time with him. But it only brings back half of it.
Yeah, what you see in the trailer is like just his legs walking around.
It's just his legs and a glowing torso.
Aww.
So they set out on a journey to find a jewel because the jewel broke. So now they're trying to find another jewel to finish the spell. But they only got 24 hours for the spell to even work. Yeah. So they've already losing the time to spend with him to all try to get it. So that means they have to go through all these different things. And it's funny because they're going through, they got cops chasing them, but the cops are like centaurs driving cars. You know, it's so funny. It's so funny. And one of them was like, I don't think it's his stepdad, but I think he's dating his mom. And he's this big fat centaur cop, and he's like chasing me. He's like, you know. And then there's a restaurant, and then part of the brother is telling him, the main guy, what they need to do on their adventure because he plays Dungeons and Dragons, so he knows all the rules of magical journeys and quests.
This is so funny.
And so they're like, we got to go see the.
Is there some sort of a wizard or
what's
witch?
it called? I don't know. What is the
Manticore? I don't know.
And the Manticore, the deadly Manticore, which is the lion with the scorpion tail and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And bat wings or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they go to this restaurant that's like almost like a not medieval times, a magic time machine kind of thing. And so the Manticore comes out of the kitchen. It's like, I got your hot sauce right here. It's like kind of silly, but on the photo, it's like got a sword of fire, and they go on a journey. So now you got the two guys on the journey, and then you got the mom and the Manticore trying to find them, and you got the police chasing them. And then meanwhile, they go through all this stuff. And I was surprised because normally Pixar, you kind of tell right off the bat, you're going to get the heartstrings pulling, trying to get you crying. It didn't happen a lot. It was a lot of just fun and adventure and quest.
That's good.
And I'm thinking, okay, this is a different direction. We're going to just go with the fun and the adventure. And then all of a sudden you get slapped right in the side of the face with the emotional parts. Because then they have their, like any of these things, they'll butt heads a little bit. Then they get the feels, and then a realization of something bigger to the entire movie that one of the character has, which that'd be the part that you'll probably be blubbering at. And then the resolution of the whole thing. It's such a great movie, and I think it might be right up there as one of my top Pixar movies. Yeah, of Pixar movies.
Oh, Pixar. Okay.
Yeah. Not in my top of the year. I haven't decided.
So you've already picked another one for top 10 so far. So.
I have 3 of them on my top 10 already for the year so far.
I haven't.
One of them is give or take because it came out last year, but again a full release this year.
Yeah, it didn't count. It was in award season last year.
I know that, but it didn't get a full wide release theatrical until January. Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, that'll be the one that gets knocked off if over. But I think as far as Pixar's, it might be up there with one of my favorites, just because of the fun of it, the cleverness of blending the genres into the present day. And there's a hilarious running gag of the unicorn Pegasus kind of things that they're basically just raccoons. They're always just digging in people's trash and they're like, get out of here, unicorns, and they're always like crazed, and I'd be laughing. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I love the movie. I thought it was great. I saw it like 2-3 weeks ago. So there was no cartoon before, but I heard that there's a Simpsons cartoon that's before to this one, which is the first Simpsons short because it's owned by Disney now. So
that's crazy.
So now they have their Simpsons short, but I didn't see it at the theater yet with the public, so I don't know if that's
what's going on.
So if you saw it, let me know if they did the little Maggie short that I heard was going to be.
Well, people are digging it. I think.
So they did well, number one, but I think it was still.
I think it was low for what they were.
Yeah, it was low for Pixar. But
it was number one, and I think people are digging it. So that's all that really matters. Just enjoy the movies, you guys. Forget about all that. Except for what we decide.
Yeah. Only listen to us.
Only listen to us. But who cares about?
I did have one of my faithful readers, so I know somebody read my review, and I posted the wrong opening.
Oh.
So like I have articles that we post on there about when they release a trailer or news or whatever, and so when I write a review, I get rid of those articles and it's replaced with the review. And so in the opening paragraph, I hadn't changed it.
Thank you.
So it said. With the upcoming release of the Toy Story 4.
Oh, they let you know that?
The next chapter, no, here's how they said it. They sent me a message that just is a screen capture of the paragraph, and it just says,
just tell us it's wrong.
It just says something like, I forgot what it was, I forgot how they said it, but it wasn't, I had to read it, I'm like, what's wrong with this? I'm like, crap. So it's already been fixed.
Thank you for letting us know.
Anyway, that's it.
You know how you're not supposed to be touching your face and shit? I've messed with my eyes.
Did you see that funny video of the lady that's giving the rules? She's standing at the podium and she's like,
wash your hands, and
she's like, you're not supposed to try not to touch your face to this.
I do all this.
This is exactly what happened.
I don't touch my face.
This is not. Hold on. I'm not making this up. She's like, these are the things to keep from spreading it. Don't touch your face. Don't this. And she goes.
Oh my God! She's one of those people. I can't stand that. That is so.
And then there's a lady behind her who's part of the same thing. She's back there.
No, I never scratch my face or anything because I don't want to mess up my makeup. I'm very aware of that. But my eyes and my nose do itch because I have such horrible allergies. And I mean, I am on prescription pills. I'm on the regular pills.
Hey, you sick?
No, I just have really horrible allergies.
So before we leave, that was the last 4 movies, right?
Yes.
We got to tell you, this week is All-Con week.
Yes. I'll post the link for you.
All-Con is one of our favorite shows. We've been supporting the show since day one. We started off the first year. Is this year like 16, 17?
I think so.
Something like that. Anyway, we went year one as fans. We found it by random. I was at this little hotel that had a leaking problem when it rained.
Yep, it was awesome.
Year two was the first show I set up as an artist with this one here. And we've been doing it ever since. We run Superhero Sunday.
Superhero Sunday.
So it's a fun little show. You should come to it. Who cares about coronavirus? Come to the damn show.
It's $60 for the entire weekend. And I mean, it's Thursday.
Thursday
Friday.
is free.
Okay. And
so if you don't want to pay, come Thursday.
Thursday.
It's spring break week, so a lot of people are off. So it's
Friday,
free Thursday.
Saturday.
Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the paydays.
And it's not just during the day, you guys. It is 24 hours a day. There is something there. If you want to play Monopoly in the middle of the night, I guarantee Catherine's going to be playing Monopoly. So it's going to be going on. This is where you need to be. I'm going to post a link
right now. Our buddies, Jedi Cole, who I've done some, we have 2 books that we put out together, comic stuff that I did artwork for and one-off cartoons that he wrote. He hosts almost all the game shows and all the fun stuff. There's tons of panels. They're going to have a slew of the original Battlestar Galactica cast. The original show, not the more modern show. They've got some, I think, Jem is going to be there.
Jem, yes, you said it correct. Thank you.
Earthworm Jem is going to be there. And,
you are cracking.
They have some cosplay people. Different stuff is going on. So they have the dealer room. They have artist alleys. They have dances, they have bands, they have.
And I like
panels.
their dealer room. It's a great variety always in their dealer room. Like
Here's my issue
costumes and you can buy hand soap.
Here's my issue with their dealer room. It's always been, and this isn't all cons problem. This is just the people that come. They never really have good dealers for like comics and toys.
Yeah.
It's so much other random stuff.
Other stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, it's cool because
if you want to be a dealer for comics, come on.
But it's not
Sign
like
up.
The thing is what bothers me about it is what makes it better because it's not like every other show.
Yes.
So it's
not.
So
there's
many different
really
things.
cool stuff. Like there's purses and there's buttons and there's costumes and there's
It's good for me because there's rarely anything I
guns.
want to buy, so then I don't even have to go in there.
But like if you're trying to find that piece for your costume, you're probably going to find it there.
Yeah. And Superhero Sunday, there's 2 different costume contests they do. They
Superhero
do
Sunday.
the normal costume contest on Saturday, which is the big one. Then they have Superhero Sunday that we host. We took over a few years back.
Oh, it's been a couple years.
From the mighty placeholder who used to host it.
Mm-hmm.
She typically does the hosting. I'm usually doing the running around and yelling and whatever at people. But unlike everybody else's shows, yes, we have the contest. We give away trophies for the winners, that kind of thing. They're interviewed on stage by her or myself, whoever's actually hosting that year, as their character, not as the person. And it's not just look at my costume. They're supposed to, if they're dressed as Harley Quinn, they got to be Harley Quinn on stage. You got to be Harley
Quinn.
We have judges.
Oh, I still can't get over German Wonder Woman. She was so mad.
We'll talk about it next week during all kinds.
Lord have mercy.
Because that's an ongoing.
Remember to ask us about that.
And we're going to see if the Cheez-It cult is still in progress from last year. You weren't there for the Cheez-It cult. You had left, so you missed all that. But during the Superhero Sunday show, which is obviously on what day?
Superhero Sunday.
It's
on
in the
Sunday.
title.
Be there.
Whether you're in a costume or not, if you come to the show, we give away stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We give out tickets. I have a box over here. See where my hand is pointing? There's a box over there that's filled with Blu-rays, DVDs, digital codes, and all you got to do is show up. And we give out tickets, and then we just give stuff away through the whole show. And if not very many people show up, there's been a couple of years where we didn't have a lot of people at the end of the show. I usually come over and see if there's anything in the box you want.
Yeah.
But we're also doing raffles throughout the entire weekend that are typically like $1 per
you buy a ticket.
You buy as many tickets as you want. The reason we do the raffle is outside of just wanting to give prizes, but the reason we do it for money, it goes towards the website and all the stuff that we host and that kind of thing. Because we pay everything out of pocket. We don't make any money on this website. So
what? You get paid to review movies,
I know,
man.
right? Yeah, no, we don't.
You get paid to give good reviews.
No. If I got paid to give good reviews, not only would I give good reviews, I would have pants on right now.
I can't afford
But
pants.
we have 3 big prizes that we're going to give away on the raffle.
Oh.
2 of them we talked about last week. One of them we didn't because I didn't realize I still had it until I was putting this box together. So we have the complete series of Ultraman.
We don't have to say it cool, though.
What?
Ultraman.
That's not how you say it.
I don't care, but you got to say it cool.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Because it's a Japanese show, which is a great show from the 60s. The 60s, right? I believe so. Yeah, from 1966 to 67. And everybody's like, it only ran for 1 season. This is actually season 2 because they did, it was Ultra Q was the first series.
Yeah.
Then Ultraman was the second series. Then they did Ultra 7. Then they did the Return of Ultraman. And then I think
there's lots of Ultras.
Yeah, but Ultra 7, Ultra Q was like monsters and that kind of stuff, but it didn't have any Ultraman type character. This one spawned a whole new section of it.
Okay.
And I want to tell you it was funny. Well, I was going to talk about this on TV Tuesday, but I want to tell you now before I forget. I was watching Ultra Q, which is a black and white series. And it's from the, hold on, what's the name of Tsuburaya Productions, which are the same people, the guys, special X guys, who he basically designed the original Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and then he spun off and made his own production company.
Gotcha.
The first season, Ultra Q, uses a lot of the original costumes changed for new monsters. So the first episode is the original Godzilla costume, but now they've added big long teeth and some fur and
changes.
But I'm watching, I'm like, that looks like Godzilla.
Godzilla and
as I'm watching, I was like, that is Godzilla. And then as I was writing the review and doing the research on the Ultra Q that I just posted,
that's so funny.
I realized that it was in fact Godzilla. Anyway, so we're giving away the season of Ultraman. Mill Creek Entertainment has put out all these. So if you don't win this copy or you do win this copy and you want to get the other ones, they're all available and they're cool. this little thing on the side here, this little image I'm showing you. You're not looking. All the different ones actually connect into one long image.
Okay.
So when you have it on your nice movie shelf, and it says series 2 right here, right? See, it's up here, series 2. But it's a standalone show. So if you do get this, you don't need the other ones. It's standalone. So that's this one we got. Then we also talked about last week, the complete series of Gotham on DVD.
This is huge.
Be all 5 seasons. DVD. I apologize, it's not some fancy Blu-ray, but you got this one. If you want to see the fancy Blu-ray, I can show you because I have it.
It could be yours for $1 ticket.
That's right. $1 tickets, you got the thing Gotham. And the last one, we're getting fancier because we went from Blu-ray to DVD. But now we're going to shoot for the stars.
We're going up.
I have a complete series of Westworld Season 2 on 4K.
Wow.
So now you get the fanciness of 4K. It has 4K and Blu-ray and digital.
Wow.
So it's the full series of Season 2. I apologize if I have Season 1. If I had Season 1, I would have kept this. Get it? Okay.
I got you.
Anyway, so we have this. We're going to be giving away. So
when is that coming back? Or is it?
yeah, they think they just saw the trailer for Season 3.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, I never even finished Season 2. So
I did. It was good.
I moved on from it.
Great.
But anyway, so all you have to do to enter those is have a ticket. You pay us $1 at the thing. You drop a ticket in the bucket. You don't have to stay at the show to wait for it. We'll call you. We were thinking about, and so I guess we didn't really decide, but we're thinking about letting people enter the drawing even if they're not at the show.
Yeah, if you can do it, pay $1.
You could PayPal $1 to us or something. I don't know.
That's dumb, but you can.
If you're interested in entering it without being there, we don't mind mailing the project to you. So you just shoot us an email, and I'll be like,
okay,
all right, and then we can PayPal $1. It probably costs you more to send me the $1 than it would actually, whatever. Or how about this? Well, no, because then you have to wait. Never mind. You can do the $1, and I was gonna say you can PayPal if you don't do it at the show, it's $5 to enter. How about that?
That's fine. Come to the show.
That will basically cover shipping.
There you go. Come to the show.
But if you can't come to AllCon, then message me and we'll talk about it. All right. So that's that.
Next.
Now we have this week's stuff.
What's coming out this week, babe?
Well, so many luxurious items.
Ooh, it's
Hold on.
luxurious.
I think I've scrolled back up out of the way of what I wanted. Excuse me, we're coming to the 10th, right? Yeah. So this week we have a lot of different things. So you have, give me this. We have Bombshell.
Okay.
Coming to Blu-ray and DVD, the Academy Award nominated film. We are also giving away a copy of this on our website.
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
Right. The new, the new edition. Not the band new edition. No, the new edition of Charlie's Angels is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD. I don't think you like her though.
I don't like her.
No.
I don't think she's a nice person in real life.
Okay. Also coming out is Uncut Gems, which I've been very, very excited to see. We have not seen it yet, so hopefully we'll get to see it soon. Spies in Disguise, which is coming out, which is the Will Smith, Tom Holland animated film. Will Smith's spy character gets turned into a pigeon, which we have one on the way to us. So hopefully we'll get to watch that and talk about it next week.
Cool.
Then there's another movie called The Witch Subversion coming out.
Is it based on the witch thing?
It's some kind of an action, supernatural something. I haven't watched it yet, so the package. But we'll be giving away copies of this too, which I haven't posted the contest yet, but we will. Another good one from Logo USA.
Welcome.
I think those are the big ones. Let me see if this other one, make sure this is, I think it's this week. We're going to post it anyway. Oh, well, you didn't bring it in here, but the 10 Commandments Special Edition.
Oh, shoot, I have it with me.
And is it 4K or Blu-ray?
It's Blu-ray. It also includes the original 1963 version from Cecil B. DeMille.
No, that is the one it is. And then it includes a 30s silent film version.
The silent film version. Sorry.
Yeah.
It has the silent version. It's black and white. And you know what? I liked it.
The black and white silent?
Yeah.
You have to pay attention more, though, don't you?
You do. And so
that's probably why you appreciate it so much, because you had to watch it.
But you know what I really enjoy? I'm going to post a review later, but what I really like is that there was such high production value because there had to be. They had to capture your attention on the screen. You know, I feel like nowadays we miss it a lot. Like maybe we're talking or there's those people that are looking at their phones and you're not really paying attention to everything that's on the screen and how much effort. But these people, they still built full sets. They had full costuming and makeup and hair. And even though it was in black and white, but you can tell like the makeup that went into it and the costuming, and you can tell that things are gold and you can see the building. I mean, it's amazing what they did.
Yeah.
Even though it was just a silent film, but it was so cool. I really liked it. Sorry, it brought me back to that era.
Also, another re-release, if you will, is A Quiet Place on 4K, which has already been released, but this is the new Steelbook Mondo edition.
Are you going to tap it like you do?
So it's got the same special features and stuff if you already have the 4K, but it's got this nice little slipcase, right?
Man.
It has a title thing, but then if you look at the artwork, which is all the light bulbs, it's the Mondo drawing. If you don't know what Mondo is, it's a thing. But anyway.
Can't explain it right now.
It's an art thing. So anyway, this new release is out just in time for the new movie that's fixing to hit in a couple of weeks.
So we got to watch that and get ready. Uh-oh. You need to answer your phone?
No, well, my mom called them Daniel. We have family drama, so we'll finish.
All right.
Oh, before we leave, though, I forgot last week, we didn't tell our story about the guy at the theater.
Which one?
The ninja. So he's not actually a ninja. So here's what happened.
Our theater experience.
Yeah. So we were going to see. What were we watching? We
were in Dolby.
Yeah.
And we were going to watch something cute and fun.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Well, look at our main page because I guess I don't have it open. Anyway, we're waiting to go in, and there's this guy standing out front. Excuse me, the Invisible Man.
Invisible Man.
Watching. Something cute.
Something fun and cute. I don't know.
Anyway, so we're waiting there, and the guy was a very nice guy. He didn't do anything weird or wrong. But what happens to me sometimes is because of my tattoos, ironically, that we talked about earlier, it makes people instantly either want to know about if I'm something to do with martial arts, or if I speak some foreign language, or if I'm Asian.
You're Asian.
Clearly, I'm not Asian.
No, you're Hispanic.
I'm not Hispanic either. But I do teach martial arts, and I do have Asian writing on me. So the guy asked me, "Do you speak Korean?" Because he saw my Korean tattoo right here. I said, "Not completely. I speak, some terminology. I teach Taekwondo, blah, blah, blah." And of course, that opens up, oh, really? And then he asked about my leg tattoos, because I have these big tattoos on my legs. They're kind of hard not to see. And they're about this big each, right? They essentially cover from the knee to my foot almost, right? And one side's like this cobra. It's the logo from the Muay Thai Academy I trained in Thailand. The other one's done by a monk. Anyway, I said, this one says Muay Thai, and yes, I teach that, blah, blah, blah. So then what always happens anytime I get in these conversations is then they are going to commence to telling me what they do. Sometimes it's real and you can tell, sometimes it's bullshit, like Master Ken says. So he starts telling me, I train this and this. I train the Shaolin monk Kung Fu with a monk such and such place. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm very nice. I don't fight him about it. And then he goes, and I trained with Bruce Lee, which is always a flag. If you don't know, everybody knows who Bruce Lee is.
Hopefully you've seen the movies.
You know who Bruce Lee is. But to give you context to this guy, he was probably my age, right?
Yeah,
maybe younger?
Maybe 30s. Maybe.
He was older than 30.
Okay.
But anyway, he was my age or younger. Let's just say that. I'm 45. So my age or younger. I was born in 1974. Okay? Got all that so far?
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee died in 1973. So that makes a little bit of an issue to train together. So knowing this information, I instantly had to figure out, how do I call him out on his bullshit without being rude, because I don't know this man. It's not affecting my life. He can say whatever he wants. So my response was, oh, that's really awesome. I said, where did you do that at? Because, if you really wanted to deep dive, you could say in California, because Bruce Lee taught in San Francisco. Yeah. He goes, I give him props because he didn't try to sugarcoat it. He didn't even hide it like what he said was nonsense. He says, Bruce Lee made these videos about Jeet Kune Do that were never for sale or whatever, and I got copies of them, so I've been training with him through the videotapes.
So basically he's following a little video.
Yeah, so he's not training with Bruce Lee. He was training with videos.
Babe, I can do that too.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, I trained with Shokasuke because I have his training video.
You've trained with every single martial arts movie.
No. I'm going to stick to training tapes.
Okay.
All right. So I trained with Shokasuke. I saw a training tape Steven Seagal when he was teaching in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I trained the hell out of Billy Blanks and Taibo. So, and the countless other videos I've watched. Anyway, so it was just kind of funny. Like, I think the best story no, I have to save it for Martial Art Movie Monday when I do that movie because I don't think I've done it yet. But I'll give you the short version. I think I've told you the story. There's a guy named Frank Dukes. Frank Dukes is the real life person that Bloodsport is based on.
Mm-hmm.
He also wrote the story, did the fight choreography or whatever for it. He's also kind of a douche. We've met him in real life. And we were Bloodsport at the height of Bloodsport, before anybody really knew who Frank Dukes was. A guy shows up to our Taekwondo class. My dad's talking to him, and he was telling my dad, "I'm Frank Dukes. I'm Frank Dukes."
Okay.
And then it escalated when my dad finally called him out on his mind. Says, "Okay, what's your real name? You're not Frank Dukes." And then he started calling us all Soviets and yelling at us and left. And then that's the short version of the story. This is all at the Annex building before.
This is just some crazy things.
Yeah, it's a great story. Anyway, so that's it for that. That was the story. There was something else we were going to talk about movie-wise, people-wise, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay, well,
So
whatever.
She's looking at skinny pictures of herself right now.
Real fast, because we've gone over time. Movies coming out this week. This is a big weekend. There are a lot of things happening. We got the movie Bloodshot with Vin Diesel. I know it's based on some comic book stuff.
Valiant, yes.
There you go. I Still Believe, which is the Christian movie about Jeremy Camp and his song. So if you're into that, there you go. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Don't even know what this is about. Teenage girl dealing with an unintended pregnancy. We'll deal with that. The Hunt, which we've been waiting on since
September of last year.
Because it's about killing people.
Well, it's about like the government picking different people to hunt. And so it became an issue during some of the political stuff, and so it got pulled. So it's funny, Blumhouse and them are genius marketing with it because they're like, the most controversial movie of the year is a movie no one has actually seen.
Yeah, so that's coming out. And then we have My Spy, which is Dave Bautista and the little girl, and that's what's happening.
I will watch it because I love all things Dave Bautista, but I don't have high hopes for that movie.
So those are the movies coming out this weekend.
Cool, and we apologize last week. We didn't do either one, Martial Arts Movie Monday or TV Tuesdays.
Dang.
It's been a crazy time. I'm going to say we're going to do them this week. Hopefully we will. But getting ready for AllCon preparation may bump us. We'll just see what happens. But I do have a movie lined up for tomorrow. So if you can, I'll be there. So why don't you give your plugs and I'll give the other halves.
Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Don't forget to go up to the top and hit the contest button to see what free stuff we're giving away. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube. Thank you so much for watching us right now on YouTube and Facebook. We love you guys.
Excuse me. And the current plan is to be here tomorrow for another episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays with yourself truly. Yours truly, not yourself truly.
Well,
yourself truly. You know. Anyway,
whatever.
And then hopefully we'll be back here for another episode of TV Tuesdays. We got tons to talk about because we haven't done it in 2 weeks or 1 week. I don't remember. It's been a while. So we got to do that. And then be back for another episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live on Sunday for not only all things movies and reviews and nonsense, but our AllCon recap, which usually ends up being a very bizarre, funny show. Sometimes we have call-ins.
We'll probably go live from AllCon at some point.
Yeah, we usually have call-ins from people that might have been at AllCon or people that show up that might be here after AllCon. We'll see who happens to be here.
We should do an AllCon After Dark segment, and we'll just come to you live from all the craziness that's going on.
We'll have to go live from the laptop, so we'll have to carry a laptop around.
That's fine. Yeah. We'll get people to get.
But yeah, there'll be different videos posted. We may come live from our table because I'll have an art table set up.
We'll see.
Selling my nonsense. So you'll hear from us. Just keep an eye out.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace and love. AllCon this weekend. If not, see you next time.
I've got to pee so bad.